We are now past the point of being ridiculous. I don't have any words to describe where we are.
We've got to cut through the noise.
Lots of noise coming from Seattle this weekend in the aftermath of removing the police from an occupied, populous part of a large city. We are now seeing the repercussions of that. Some of us have been saying this would happen the entire time. When you remove law enforcement from an area, there seems to be a lot more breaking of the law. When you remove law enforcement and medical professionals, when you remove their ability to respond to victims of said lawlessness, it seems to not go as well as one would hope. This was what happened in Seattle over the weekend. 2 people, as far as we know, were shot. 1 has now passed away. The other seems to be sustaining from the injuries. We're going to get into it. The police have now released body cam footage of their response, or their attempt of a response to the shooting. But before we do, make sure that you're subscribed. Hit that little bell so you get all notifications. That way you'll know next time that we upload a video. So the police have released footage of themselves trying to enter into the CHAZ. I should say as well, we are going to hear gunshots in a few seconds. So if that bothers you for some reason, you might want to fast forward in the video. There's also a bit of a language warning because the police are entering into this area where people seem to hate them. So do just keep that in mind as we watch. There was several shots. Hear people crying out, shots fired. And here's the body cam footage. We're moments before them trying to enter into the
There you go. I'll
take the other one.
Please move out of the way so we can get to the victim. All we're trying to do is get to the victim and provide them aid. Please allow us to get fire into the area to provide them aid.
So there we hear people shouting. You could kind of make it out there saying, the victim is gone. The person who got shot is no longer here, as if that's the reason that police are responding. We can see this article from the Epoch Times, which is notoriously good at being neutral, which is what journalism is supposed to be. They say the body camera footage showed officers arriving before heading through the zone with guns drawn as angry occupiers yell profanities and approach the officer. An officer in the video can be heard yelling, "Please move out of the way so we can get to the victim. All we want to do is get to the victim and provide them aid," as we just heard. The protesters are then heard telling the police, "Put your guns down." The 2 victims were already taken to Harborview Medical Center by Capitol Hill organized protest medics. So now they have their own medical team, said the department, adding that a suspect, the perpetrator of the crime, fled and is still at large. All of these bozos that are yelling at the police, "Put your guns down!" As if that's an appropriate way to respond to a public shooting where the perpetrator is still at large. You don't respond to a public shooting being unarmed, because then you're completely useless. The firearms are what give these policemen and women a cutting edge, because they are better trained in how to use them. They're not responding only for the victims. You heard the officer say that. They are also responding in hopes to see a suspect fleeing or get any information on that. Let's continue here. You don't belong here. The victim's gone. Why would you respond with firearms to a public shooting? Boy, that's a real head scratcher, isn't it? These people seem to not have a fundamental understanding of what the police are for. They actually think that they've created their own country and that the police are not allowed to enter into this area. They actually think that. Like I said, beyond ridiculous. Let's keep watching.
So it very well could be the Seattle police mustered their forces outside of the zone until they had the appropriate manpower to come into the zone. I don't know, but now you got another situation because you got the police who are now not necessarily surrounded, but there's definitely there's a lot of people out here.
Even this guy who's covering this ridiculousness has no words to describe what he's seeing. Can you imagine being so naive in your flawed philosophy, thinking that it's not appropriate for police to respond with a show of force to a public shooting? I thought the whole point was that gun violence was such a problem. Now when the law responds to it, they don't want it. What do you want? Make up your mind. Don't change your mind. Make up your mind, please.
I'm dealing with the same shit you're dealing with every fucking day.
Move your cars. Go.
Sorry if that's loud. Let me turn it down. They're forcing the police out. Get out. Seems like some of the people there are trying to assist the police and maintaining some sort of civility
We have a head count.
or something that resembles civility.
Get your vehicle.
This is really bad.
Go over the curb and out. If you got a two-man car, fucking go.
Oh, here comes Mr. Brave. Let's not forget that most of these people are probably high off their mind. But we've heard the rumors. All that happens next is the police leave. They vacate the area. We've heard the rumors that the CHAZ is not safe after dark. Seems like all of America has been saying, when is this silly charade going to be over with? When is the state of Washington going to take back their property? Seems like no sign of that is coming soon because the state of Washington is allowing these angry people to push around police officers. The Governor Jay Inslee of Washington said, "I certainly believe that we have to find a way to simultaneously have the community a chance to speak for police services and, importantly, fire services to people to be able to be provided. Clearly, we need to have a way to provide adequate police and fire protection everywhere in the state of Washington, including that area." So he's finally coming around to, okay, this is getting out of control. David Preston with Safe Seattle says, if you look at what's happening in this protester area, that is not an example of either good government or public safety being protected. So naturally, we are opposed to the zone the way it's being implemented. We support peaceful protests. Yeah, so do I. This is not peaceful. You are not within your rights constitutionally to do what these individuals are doing. Here's something I found interesting. On a local news channel, it says the first victim, 19-year-old man, arrived at Harborview at 2:42 a.m. Man died from his injuries, police said. Alex Bennett was walking her dog early Saturday morning when she came across one of the victims. I just saw one gunshot wound on his. So it's not clear if she's part of this protest or she just lives in the area. She's walking her dog. She comes across a victim. She says, I saw one gunshot wound on his arm, so I took off my sweatshirt and tied it around his arm above where the gunshot wound was so I could make a tourniquet to try and keep the bleeding down. Very smart, appropriate response. Seems like a very well-rounded individual. She said the CHOP medical crews tried to help and someone called 911. Somebody called 911. In the police-free, autonomous zone, their own country, but they still need vegan options, and they also still call 911 when somebody is injured. I don't know if that's encouraging or not, but they were told paramedics couldn't come because police were being blocked from entering the area. Bennett says, I finally was just like, he is just really going into shock. I need a few guys to help me. We're just going to lift him up, and when we picked him up and got him into the back of the van. If an ambulance could have come, he would have been there a lot sooner, and I think he would have been in a lot better shape. If an ambulance could have come, Both victims might still be alive today. Like I said, beyond ridiculous. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I joke around a lot, do a lot of stupid things, but really, it means a lot. You can watch any of these other videos popping up and subscribe if you haven't yet. It means a ton. Thanks again.